Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just some random guy on the internet, but I'm also a guy that often makes videos that goes pretty in-depth into these lolcows' lives, but I've never really made updates. You know, as a lot of these deep-cut lolcows, they often just delete their channels, and then there's really nothing else about their story, you know. But if a few of them haven't, and I'd like to start giving updates on, some of the wackier ones, and guess what? I'm gonna start with one of the dumbest guys I think I've ever covered and trolled or any of this shit. We're gonna be talking about Anderson Henderson, aka Steven Bello. I'm telling you, this guy is a legit regard. If you don't know anything about Anderson Henderson, go check out the documentary that I made on him. The dude's a complete idiot. He legitimately thinks he's gonna star in a sequel to 24 or whatever, a continuation of it. Really wacky stuff. You know, we're gonna talk about him because there's been a lot of stuff to actually happen that I need to cover. Now, at the end of my documentary, I made a simple statement that would more or less just cause Steve, some lasting issues, to say the least. I made a call to action, basically asking people to keep an eye on him. You know, give him some attention that he craves. You know, it wasn't the type of attention he wanted, but he got attention nonetheless. And like I said earlier, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go watch the documentary on old Steve. But just as a little TLDR, Steve was arrested for stalking a minor and was even arrested for breaking a protective order on said minor, and showing up to her house and just sitting outside, texting her, being like, "Hey, come outside, I want to interview you." This is fucked up stuff. Okay, if you're a normal person on the internet, and someone was arrested on stalking charges, one would believe that you'd want to be held accountable. You'd want them to be held accountable, right? That was just the kind of thing that I said at the very end of my documentary. I was like, go give him the attention that he so craves. Editor, why don't you just play the very end of it? And I hope that maybe signal boosting these idiots will, get the attention that they deserve. Steve, you want the fame, you want the fortune, you want the attention. Well, hopefully I can give you that exposure, because all publicity is good publicity, right? Steve wants the attention. Why don't you go give it to him? I mean, it is what he craves, right? Now, before I came into the picture, Steve would go live just about every day, just sit there and be boring. This is one of the reasons why I don't really care if he's off of the internet, because, there's two sides to everything. A lot of these people, they'll be like, oh, well, it's harder to keep an eye on him. He wasn't doing anything in the first place. He was just sitting there wasting Social Security and the government's funding and shit. Like, he wasn't doing anything. But he really wasn't doing anything with his life. He was just really boring, so I didn't really have any qualms with him escaping the internet. And it's basically what he did. In the very end, he deleted his channel, which is something that nobody really thought that he would do, but that's just what happens in the game of trolling. Steve would go live almost every day, only to have trolls pull into his chat and give him a hard time, calling him a child stalker and, calling his phone. Because at one point, the idiot even posted his own phone number to his channel for people to call in, and give their 2 cents. And boy, did the trolls take advantage of that. They took advantage of it, and they had a lot of fun. At one point, Steve was even getting pizza deliveries. Of course, the pizzas were unpaid for. They just wanted people to knock on his door, just give him a little bit of a hard time in the real life. He was getting pizza delivery drivers and Craigslist people sent to his apartment. The Craigslisters are often looking for tools and free cigarettes, by the way, which, if you didn't know that, you can just go to Craigslist and post an ad and for some free cigarettes, and would you believe it that 100 different people would actually contact you wanting a carton of free cigarettes? Well, that's just insanity to me, but apparently people do it. So that's just what happened to Anderson. He started just getting people knocking on his fucking door. But anyways, if you're not familiar with those troll tactics, it's a very common way to harass these idiots, and and he got a whole bunch of the treatment. Now, due to the sudden pressure, he stopped going live as often, but that didn't really stop the trolls from going after him. You see, there are many players in the game of Anderson Henderson, and in this update, I'll introduce you to a few of these people. They're kind of key and essential to the troll operations. We call them operations, anyways. After the trolls started pooling into his chat, there were two people that started being in his chat quite often, giving him words of encouragement and banning everyone. Of course, this was pretty ineffective. The trolls would just end up making alt accounts, and you get like 60 people, and each of them have like 100 alt accounts. Like, there's no getting rid of them, especially if you only have like 2 mods. There's no way to get rid of them. Like, they're just gonna keep coming back over and over and over. These two people, they were Abster none other and Molasses Cookies. Now, these two people are key players due to Abster being a former love interest for Steve, and Molasses Cookies, she allowed words of encouragement and would even give him money, which the #1 rule to any of these idiots is you don't do that. Don't give them money, especially if they're child predators. Just don't ever give them money, and if you give them money, you know, you're gonna get got. The people are just gonna come after you. So don't give it. People like Cyrax, especially Anderson Henderson. Don't ever give Anderson Henderson fucking money. That dude, he's a lowlife, and all he does is get SSI, you know, Social Security, and he lives in fucking government housing. So he's a waste of space and a waste of life. Let's continue. Like Cyrax, the first thing you do with these terrible lolcows is to isolate them from their friends and their supporters. And that's exactly what the trolls set to do. Abster came first. Of course, the trolls found out where she lived, and I believe due to her being pretty open on her Facebook, that's how they found her. You know, when you're posting photos and videos of yourself, you know, in different places, it's actually pretty easy to figure out where the fuck you are. And after they found out where she lived from Facebook, she was soon overran with pizza deliveries and Craigslisters as well. Anyways, she got Craigslisted and a bunch of pizza deliveries until she was harassed to the point to where she didn't want it anymore and decided to, you know, leave Anderson's chat, which is exactly what the trolls want, and she gave it to him. The thing about this is, with Abster being one of Steve's love interests, it made him extremely angry at her because he claimed that she didn't have the gumption to stick around in the game, which is kind of ironic to how this entire story kind of folds over and ends. He even went as far as to attempt to make a diss track on her for abandoning him. Eder, if you don't mind, you play a little bit of Little Abster Baby.
I'm just a grain of sand in the desert getting blown. I'm just a grain of sand in the desert getting blown. In whichever direction the wind chooses. Little Abster Baby OG. You know I'll pick up the phone if you decide to call me.
The next person to go after was Molasses Cookies. Next came Molasses, who probably deserves a video all on her own as well. If you want a more in-depth look at old Molasses Cookies, I made an entire live stream. You can find it right here. I made an entire live stream where I basically just went through all of her stuff. So her entire stream. I went pretty in-depth into her streams, but I mainly wanted to talk about her toe sucking, which, by the way, that happened. She deleted the videos, but again, you can check out my live stream on her. Yeah, I watched just about everything. She is a real piece of work. She's not a piece of work. She's a piece of shit. Anyways, Molasses was next, and due to her being 40 and living with her parents, it wasn't really hard at all for the trolls to find out who her parents were. And as you would guess, her elderly parents started getting phone calls and unpaid door dashers. Molasses was a bit hard-headed about the whole thing, but finally, she stopped showing up in Steve's chat as well. The hard-headedness, she was like, well, I don't like people telling me what to do, and blah blah blah. Like, dude, you're the one causing your elderly parents to get like all this hatred and harassment. Like, literally, if you'd get out of his chat, none of this would happen. Like, none of the harassment would happen. She had to be hard-headed about it. But finally, the trolls broke her, and she started not being in his chat anymore, which is, it was a good thing. It's a good thing. Well, like I said, she was hard-headed about it, but she, you know, ultimately stopped showing up in Steve's chat and even quit going on panel with him. We took out 2 of his most supportive people that he had around him, and now that we had isolated him, it was time for the big guns. And trust me, the trolls were relentless, dude. At this point, Steve had lost the majority of what he cared about from his love interest, his best online friend, and on top of that, the trolls were still sending people to his apartment, and, you know, he had to get rid of his phone number, and you wonder, what could the trolls take at this point to, you know, get even further under his skin? Well, Steve actually had this delusion that he was gonna be, like, he was a lot like Cyrax in the sense that he thought that he was some kind of musical genius, and that he was you know, like a famous rap artist or some shit. He believed that he was actually good with the music, which the music wasn't bad. It wasn't like bad, but it wasn't good. The reason he's more comparable to Daniel Larson is because his music isn't near as bad as Cyrax. But why do I even bring up his music? Well, Steve went by his rapper name Crazed H, which, you know, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But he had an entire album on YouTube, that is, until the trolls got a hold of it. You see, a new rapper, he came from the ashes and realized that Crazed H was just re-uploading his music, and this new rapper, his name was Lame H. Lame H rose up from the ashes and was not happy that Steve was uploading music, so the music was re-uploaded to Lame H's channel, and soon enough, the copyright started. You see, Lame H, he went to the trouble of actually pursuing and buying rights to any and all Crazed H music, the likeness of Crazed H. He spent a little bit of fair amount of money to copyright all of Crazed H's stuff. You know, if he posted anything under Crazed H, like, it would just get copyrighted. And of course, you get three copyright strikes on your channel. You end up getting struck. You get down. You don't have a channel anymore. Which Anderson ended up making a secondary channel called Anderson Henderson 2. The problem with this was it got struck. Now, and all this was just a ploy to piss off Steve. You know, he even tried to make a new album, and he uploaded it to the Anderson Henderson channel, which as you would know, it all got taken down. Lame H was on the rise, and Crazed H was finally no more. By the way, that channel's gone as well. We've completely taken down Crazed H's channel. So, yes, there was 2 channels. One of them was ran by somebody else. Anderson Henderson, I think, was also a part of the channel, but he wasn't logged into it. Somebody else ran that channel, and it also got taken down. So that's score 1 in the books for us. After the takedown of Crazed H, Steve pretty much stopped uploading videos and rarely ever went live, but he did make a second channel we just talked about called Anderson Henderson 2, which he uploaded a couple songs and a random video about some dude named John Camillo who got arrested for some real whack shit, I guess. But before that channel was taken down, and that was all before that channel was also taken down to copyright strikes. And at this point, Steve really didn't have anything left. He lost his phone number, he was doxxed yet again. And yes, he's been doxxed quite a bit. He's not really all that careful with his information. He lost the love of his life, and his best friend turned her back on him. And his music was literally no longer his. And the trolls, they just weren't letting up, which brings us to the sweet ending. This all ties us together to the sweetest ending that we could ever have. He deleted his fucking channel. Him deleting his channel is actually kind of a big thing, because there's one thing I haven't mentioned in this video that I did mention in the documentary. He attempted a world record of not sleeping for like 100 hours, but we all proved and debunked that he never did that. He actually would stop his live stream, sleep for like 8 hours, and then start his live stream back up. But they were all absolute scams. But he was so prideful and proud that he had all those 10-hour live streams up. He was just so fucking proud of it that when he started deleting all of his stuff before the channel takedown, those were the only things left on his channel, was those 100 hours live streams. Then those were gone as well, which means that if he's gonna take stuff like that down, things have gotten pretty bad for him. Those were his pride and joy, and even I was surprised to see that he deleted everything. So, but after that, after a couple of days, his entire channel was gone and finally lost to time. It was a sweet bitterness, but because, you know, we all did come together as a community to take down somebody that was truly a terrible person. And depending on your mindset, may agree or disagree, maybe it is a little harder to keep an eye on them at this point without them being online. But also, he wasn't doing anything. Like, he wasn't doing anything with his fucking life. So even if he was online and live streaming, he could just stop the live stream and go stalk another fucking kid without us knowing. So that whole point's just moot. It's moot. Nobody really knows what he does off camera anyways. So in my head, good riddance and so long. Don't come back, fucker. I appreciate you for watching. I hope to see you in the next episode of whatever the hell I'm doing when I decide to take down a child stalker. Have a great day.
She thinks that she can just order me to make her a fucking song. Bitch, I don't give a fuck if this bitch ever talks to me again or not.
And all they want
They making a damn song for her.
Kick dirt in your wound, pour salt in your wound, kick sand in your eyes, twist the knife after they stick it in your back.
Twist the knife.
I'm too sick. I'm too good of a girl to deal with that anymore.
Twist the knife. She said twist the knife.
Is best, because if he does not care at all about me, not even an inkling, and he wants me out of his life like he says he does in public, but in private it's very different, then I'll know come June 2nd, and I'll be heartbroken, sure.
I'm just a nice boy who smokes weed.
It'll be for